China has been doing much more investing in Sri Lanka since the Chinese Belt and the Road Initiative got shipped. The Chinese Belt and the Road Initiative is a plan to capture the strategically important places of any country by giving loan at a very high interest rate. That's why China did with Sri Lankan economy. They never gave aid to Sri Lanka. They gave loans, and when Sri Lanka defaulted on those loans, then the Chinese government took over Hambantota port for 99 years. The Chinese are also trying to do the same in case of Colombo port in this very, very difficult time. As we know, after COVID-19 pandemic, the world inflation hit a record level. Over that Russia-Ukraine conflict make things more complicated. So for Sri Lankan economy, those two events proven to be a disaster. The Sri Lankan economy failed to absorb such shocks, so it fall apart. The fall apart like the house of cards. The Sri Lanka faces its worst crisis in decades because their main source of income was tourist inflow. As it stopped completely, that's why they lost their guarantee over the foreign reserve. And as their foreign reserve got dry, then being an importer, they failed to buy enough fuel, enough food, and the essential goods for their citizens. And over that, the country is in the neck deep debt. The foreign debt is around $4 billion, and they are only left with $2.5 billion foreign reserve. In this very critical scenario, the Sri Lanka asked for China to restructure their debt, but the Chinese did not listen. But only one country listened to them, and that country is India. To help Sri Lankan economy, India has already extended 1 billion line of credit to help the Sri Lankan people to buy fuel, to food and medicine. In addition, $500 million credit has been extended for a shipment of 40,000 tons of diesel to tide over the severe fuel shortage in that country. India has also extended $400 million currency swap and deferred payment of $515.2 million to the Asian Clearing Union by 2 months. India has now extended another $2.4 billion credit line to help them further, to help the Sri Lankan economy further, because last week Sri Lankan schools have to postpone the exam due to the paper shortage. This is a very bad situation for Sri Lankan economy, and they need the help, and India is going to helping them. And according to the Indian government will going to extend the line of credit up to $10 billion to pull them out of this mess. India is extending line of credit because there are some reasons. The reason is this is the best time for India to kill the Chinese influence once and for all in Sri Lankan economy. If Sri Lanka stopped or hold every Chinese project for some unknown reasons, then the Belt and the Road Initiative and string of pearls will become a waste. The Chinese influence in Indian Ocean region will be over. That is why India signed 3 maritime defense deals along with some renewable power projects with island nations. If India be able to kill the Chinese influence in the Indian Ocean region, then India have to come board with the Sri Lanka. If the Sri Lanka is gone from the Chinese hand, then the Chinese won't have anything in the Indian Ocean region. First, talk about the 3 defense deals, which became the talking point for the world media houses, the whole world media houses. Because some deals are bothering the Sri Lankan people, some bothering the other world powers, those who wants to show their monopoly everywhere. They wants to show their monopoly in the Sri Lankan economy. The defense agreements includes the 2 Dornier maritime reconnaissance aircraft and a 4,000-ton naval floating dock. Along with that, the Colombo has agreed to post a naval liaisons officer at the Indian Navy's Information Fusion Center, Indian Ocean region in Gurugram, and India will going to provide the training to the Sri Lankan officials to handle those sophisticated naval equipment that India gave them. The Indian government gave them to track merchant shippings and monitors the threat such as maritime terrorism and piracy in regional water. That naval floating dock that India gave Sri Lanka is a facility equipped with automated system for quality and swift repairs of warships. Such docks have the capability to lift large ships such as frigates and destroyers. And it is also designed to be berthed alongside jetty to carry out planned and emergency repairs of ships. The Sri Lanka and India has also finalized the long-standing project to refurbish and develop the British-era Trincomelee oil farm. which is an 850-acre strategically located facility with the capacity of almost 1 million tons. That's why India have agreed to the Sri Lanka to develop that facility, that oil facility. This has also given the boost to the bilateral cooperations. India is planning to store the oil in the Indian Ocean region strategically. That's why India have taken over the Trincomelee ports. Now let's talk about the power projects, which really shows India's strategic influence in Indian Ocean region. And this move is the strategic win for India over China, because in January 2021 the Sri Lankan cabinet had cleared the projects at 3 islands of the coast of Jaffna, which was within 50 km of the coast of Indian state Tamil Nadu. And Chinese government also offered Sri Lankan government a massive grant. And that event rang the bell in New Delhi. The government of India contacted Sri Lankan government immediately regarding that issue and offered Sri Lanka some projects at a grand scale. India has agreed to do the same project at a grand scale. And the Indian government assured Sri Lankan government that the Delhi won't give them any kind of loan or the grant. In return of grant, Delhi will going to give them a massive aid. So Sri Lankan government accepted that offer gracefully by understanding the Delhi strategic concern or interest. Therefore, the Sri Lankan government suspended the Chinese project for unknown reasons. That obviously spooked the Chinese government, but the India did it very, very sharply. India and Sri Lanka have also signed the agreement to set up a maritime coordination center with the involvement of defense sector PSU Bharat Electronics Limited. You understand why India is doing so. India has also done same thing and the similar thing in Seychelles to counter the Chinese influence in Indian Ocean region. India is also doing something in some island nations of the Indian Ocean regions. So India's main goal is to counter the China in the Indian Ocean regions, like the way the Chinese are doing in the South China Sea. The India found out is very vulnerable that if the India will going to give the Chinese the upper hand, then they will going to capture some of the islands of the Indian Ocean. That is why India do not give any chance to the Chinese government to set up any bases or any kind of defense things in the Indian Ocean region. This cooperation in defense and the civil sector may be viewed against the backdrop of the increasing Chinese presence in the Indian Ocean regions. And yes, India is doing so. But the China is doing far worse in the South China Sea regions and the North China Sea regions. And not in the Indian Ocean region. They have not been able to do the same in the Indian Ocean region. That is why India is doing some kind of counter to the Chinese presence in the Indian Ocean region. The Chinese are disturbing the Japan, Chinese are disturbing Vietnam, Chinese are disturbing Philippines and all the ASEAN nations in that region, those who share the border with the South China Sea. So if they will going to able to do the same thing in the Indian Ocean region, then it will be very problematic for the world business community, for the world powers, for the India itself. You can understand from the Ukraine-Russia conflict, the USA was trying to implant their defense equipments on the border with Russia. That was a vulnerable point for the Russia. That was the death nail in the Russian coffin. So the Russia was compelled to do so, to attack the Ukraine, because the USA was behaving adamantly by pushing Ukraine into NATO. Ukraine is the fault line between West and Russia. USA tried to use it violently. That's why the war happened in first place. Similarly to Ukraine, the Sri Lanka is also the fault line between India and China. India cannot allow the Chinese weapon at its doorstep. The Chinese ships and the missile systems in Sri Lanka will prove to be a disaster for the Indian Ocean region and for India itself. In Europe, the Ukraine is a non-nuclear nation. But here in the Asia, these two big giants have the world-based weapon system that can kill Earth over and over. Knowing this fact, India acts sensibly and the China backed off diligently. So India is like a sleeping giant. Nobody knows what India have, what India is capable of. Because India never attacked any nations ever in her life. Now India is gaining upper hand over China in its own backyard in Sri Lanka. Now we have reached our question part. The first question is, what does the S stand for in Swift Financial Messaging Service? The first option is secure, the second option is society, the third option is simple, the fourth option is service. The second question is, according to 1936 Montreux Convention, which country has the control over both the Bosphorus Strait and the Dardanelles Strait? The first option is Ukraine, second option is Turkey, third option is Poland, fourth option is Hungary. Now, if anyone have any questions about this topic or any other topic I have already discussed, you can mail me to my email address, which is tuhin.power.academy@gmail.com. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.